My name is Dr. Robert Frederick. I'm the faculty advisor for InFocus, the International Fellowship of Christian University Students at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. This video is part of a short series entitled A Week of Sundays. This series of 5-minute videos provides short stories from life that are then compared with topics in the Bible. Talk number 4 is entitled The Los Alamos Litter Bug and was written by David Matson. It inspires us to consider the magnitude of the power of God. The dark New Mexico desert was silent until headlights and the crunch of car tires disturbed the night. Door handles clicked as soldiers, scientists, and technicians climbed out into the near dawn. Some adjusted impressive instruments and talked officially into radio microphones, while others set up cameras. For miles around, technicians monitored elaborate apparatus. Military aircraft focused their precision cameras. One man stepped out of his car and walked a short distance into the desert. He had no idea an experiment he thought had failed would become the center for the entire scientific world. Other scientists recalculating the results of that experiment informed Enrico Fermi that his experiment had actually split an atom. Einstein, Bohr, Planck, and others had been right. It was possible to release immense energy from a few kilos of the right material. Enrico checked his watch, pulled out a handful of paper scraps from his pocket, and adjusted the dark green goggles over his eyes. A man called out, "It's time!" Everyone turned away or shielded their eyes with their forearm. A blinding whitewash of light lit up the desert brighter than the day. In a few seconds, the first mushroom atomic cloud rose above the sand. Carefully facing toward the great ball of fire climbing miles into the sky, Enrico checked his watch and prepared to drop his bits of paper. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He counted down, then released the scraps, which fluttered a few feet in the breeze stirred by the bomb's shock wave. Enrico paced the distance the paper had traveled before landing. He returned to his car, where in front of his headlights he scribbled calculations on a notepad. Always the scientist, even at this moment when the world had truly changed, he nodded to himself, satisfied that the experiment had succeeded. A small quantity of enriched uranium, easily held in one's hands, had erupted with the force of thousands of tons of TNT and lashed out with a radiant heat blast never before seen on the Earth. The force of an atom cannot be seen directly. It is known by the effect it has on what it touches. Nuclear fuel in a reactor, or dropped as a bomb, reveals its power by steam rushing through turbines, or cities flattened and charred. Wind is unnoticed till we feel a breeze or see the rooftops flung headlong as in a hurricane. There was a Roman soldier, an officer who had seen men die in combat and at executions. He was immune to the cries of dying men. He may have joined in taunting the helpless three, nailed to crosses and lifted up. He did his duty, but something moved him. His attention was drawn to the man between the two thieves. As Christ breathed his last, the soldier said loud enough for others to hear, "Truly, this was the Son of God." The power of God is known by the way it touches hearts and changes lives. His Spirit, like the wind that bends the trees, turns people from loneliness and failure to purpose and hope. Hardened hearts, unmoved by all other appeals, are broken and set free by the simplest, unpolished retelling of the old story of Jesus and his love. There's really only one way people are saved by God's grace. They come when He calls. Philippians 2 says, "For God is at work in you, both to will and to work for His great pleasure." The invitation to you may come in a cathedral, a crusade, or the readiest mission chapel. The power of the gospel may fall like a blinding light upon Saul, soon to be Paul, or quietly in a person's understanding, delighting them with joy. Enrico Fermi disliked complicated theories, and while he had great mathematical ability, he would never use it when the job could be done much more simply. He was famous for quick and accurate answers to problems that would stump other people. The Bible does not hesitate to brag about the power of God. These passages of Scripture offer to challenge all comers. Listen to God's straightforward and simple answers to life's questions from the book that He wrote for us, the Bible. Psalm 34:8 says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in Him." Philippians 2:13 says, "For God is at work in you, both to will and to work His good pleasure." Romans 1:16 and 17 says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel. It is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who has faith, to the Jew first, and then to the Greek." 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but a spirit of power and love and self-control." Hebrews 1:3 says, "He reflects the glory of God and bears the very stamp of His nature, upholding the universe by His word of power. When He had made purification for sins, He sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high." The final scripture, Matthew 8:5-13, is a story I'd like to encourage you to read for yourself so that you can see with your own eyes how the power of God was manifested simply by His speaking His own words. Read the story of the power of Jesus for yourself in Matthew 8:5-13. Thank you for joining us for this video tonight. This is the fourth of 5 videos in a series called A Week of Sundays, leading up to the celebration of Easter. We hope that you'll consider joining one of our In Focus families to attend Easter services with them this coming Sunday.